But it's really cool that Kellan, I like that Kellan joins up, like, does this, because it allows any of our creatures that we had on the field on the turn that we start this combo to potentially do infinite damage, right? Because we can do this infinitely. I did want to say that I haven't really played enough with this standard to really give you a good sideboard. I'm just doing best one at the moment. But I did just put Aven Interrupter here to remind you that you can go this angle, because we're going to be airbending a bunch of stuff, and they're going to have to cast that stuff again, right? A lot of tempo already. It's already a really good mechanic, and that all of that is going to cost 2 more. That's pretty crazy. So this combos with our main squeeze of the deck, which is Aang. If you haven't seen this for some reason, or if you're like me and you're coming back, this is what it does. It's a flash tutoring flyer. Very good. But airbending a target creature that's just chilling on the field or a spell on the stack gives you so much protection, tempo, etc., etc. And this allows us to hit our own creatures, which is very notable. The second main piece is our Appa. Okay, so this is going to be able to protect our stuff. It's one of those 4-mana flash protection in white type of cards, but this is a really, really good version of it, right? And it also has the ability when we cast stuff from Exile to give us board presence. Now that is very relevant because we're going to have this infinite loop going on. So we're going to create a bunch of 1/1s, infinite 1/1s, and it's going to be great. Now Appa only has to target Aang, blinking Aang back to our hand. And what we're going to do is we're going to then use Aang to blink our Appa. Appa the Aang, Aang the Appa, Appa the Aang. Well, how are we doing that for free? Because aren't we airbending them? And it costs 2 to bring them back? Well, what if there was a card in Outlaw Thunder Junction that made all cards cast from Exile cost 2 less to cast? So Appa and Aang are airbending each other. We have to pay 2 to bring them back normally, right? Normally it's just like a protection effect. But now we're just doing it over and over and over and over again, and we don't have to pay any mana at all, right? So that's what this guy is sitting there on the field, just making all this happen for free. And meanwhile, Appa is generating a million 1/1s. Now there is another cool interaction that I actually did hope, I played a couple games, and this one was in the video, which was great. But this can allow any of your creatures, when you start this infinite combo, if you have any creature that can connect for damage, say you have 2 creatures on the field just chilling, like some 1/1s or something, or maybe you have your South Pole Voyager from earlier. I'll talk about this in a second. And they only have 1 blocker. One of those creatures is going to connect, and it's going to have infinite counters on it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to blink a legendary creature and a legendary creature over and over again. This guy's also legendary too. So any of those infinite counters. Now we also have a sort of subtle go wide strategy that will just win the game sometimes if they have dealt with our annoying Appa Aang combo. And I'll talk about this card in a little bit. I think this is really, really, really good. I like this card a lot, and I can imagine this being backbreaking in like a Selesnya deck. My mind's going crazy with this because I'm pretty sure this is insane. So what we do have is we have some tempo with Aang and Appa, but we also have Into the Flood Maw, 3 copies, 2 It'll Quench Ya's, right? Which is pretty darn good. And then we have 2 Airbender Ascensions, which is another way of blinking our guys that are end step over and over and over again. Because maybe we do have to do, like, maybe we're going to die that turn. We have to flash Appa out, like, prematurely for whatever reason. There's a lot of weird situations to end up in Magic. So this can just be a way of guaranteeing your end step to start the chain, as well as just buying you some time in the early game by hitting. So we're just playing 2 there. This could be very, very important. South Pole Voyagers are only like normal creatures, like non-legendaries, just like a normal creature. So this can draw you some cards sometimes. Obviously, when we're going infinite, it's only the second time this ability, so you're only drawing like a card a turn when you start to pop off. But it is just enough sometimes to get you that Appa when you need the Appa. So it is also just a little bit of passive life gain. So it's like you barely don't die to that aggressive red matchup, or you just draw enough cards in that match to find all your pieces. And it is just a 2/2 early that you can just cast as a normal creature. So we really don't have that many creatures early on. The only other like creature really is the Momo friendly Flier, which is going to lessen the cost of our non-lemur flying guys. So that's Aang, and we also have Appa, who's a flyer as well. Now we just have like some tempo and stuff in general, as I was sort of saying. Like we had our counters, we have our Into the Flood Maws, the bounce stuff. We have our spell pierces as well, adding on to that. So we have 4 counters in the deck. 1 up to help us get in. Then we are playing, it looks like 3 surveillance, helping us get into our deck, find our stuff. Getaway Glamour, enabling our infinite chain. This, you actually see it in the video, I think. Yeah, it like will destroy the biggest, scariest thing on the field while blinking our guy, which could then again start the other chain of blinking. There's a lot. You really have to play with it to really start visualizing, but this card is super good. I used to use this in the Flesh Gorger, Phyrexian Flesh Gorger decks. If you remember, it was so long ago now. Just kidding. It seemed like yesterday for me. It was the last time I played. This card, absolutely insane for 1 mana. I'm wondering what the heck went. Like, this is push to hell. How are they going to print better? Like, how are they going to print better versions of this? I'm not too sure. And it's a lesson, which enables the lesson stuff, which we're not even doing, but just, yeah. A little bit of life lane so you don't die. Kellan Joins Up is, yeah, the win con. Putting a counter every time. Pretty cool. This, put a counter on, maybe you cast this for X is 2, X is 3, right? And you have like an Aang. So you get like 3 guys, you put a counter, Aang is a 3/4 flyer, and you have 3 2/2s. Like, that's some respectable board presence all of a sudden. But then later in the game, this can just be like, you know, crazy, almost, you know, people call it like FU damage, right? Say that you cast this for X is 6, and you already have like 5 rabbits. Maybe you cast this the previous turn, and you have some other just Angs and stuff. Maybe Appa has just naturally made some whites, and we haven't even done our infinite combo, our 1/1 white allies. So whites that 1/1 is crazy. But then eventually you just lay this as like, yeah. So it's good mid-rangey, it's good late. So yeah, this also can be just a way of like, hey, we just made a bunch of those tokens I was just talking about. Boom, now they're all respectable. It's also a way of going sort of infinite, right? And it has trample on it. So as we're going infinite with Appa and Aang, this, if it is on the field, coincidentally, right, this can be the only creature in the deck that can punch through for infinite damage that turn. Because the way that we lose is like we do this, we pass a turn, we don't have a counter in our hand, and they wipe the whole board. That's like the only way you lose, really, right? Is they wipe the board. So this is a way with the trample to potentially end the game that turn, infinite damage, right? So a little bit of card draw, a little bit of life gain, interaction, some cool stuff. Flood Maw has always been good. Don't need to go too hard on the lessons or anything like that. We have a Katara, the Fearless. Now this is going to allow us to do double triggers with all of our stuff, which like isn't necessary, but it does allow us to like have an element of depth that we wouldn't otherwise. So I I think you gotta consider the potential of like drawing 2 cards from a couple of these, right? Or just blinking 2 of their guys. Say we're gonna die. Like, you know, maybe we're on defense. You get this card, and you know, maybe you don't have your Appa and your Dirt Doc Aurlock because you need 3 pieces, remember? But you do have your Aang and you do have your Katara, so you can start to just bounce a couple things, right? And then it potentially gives you enough time to draw into another Aang, bounce 2 more things. And it's also like, if your Appa's making 1/1s, just coincidentally with the non-infinite stuff, you can make 2 1/1s. So there is some potential here. There's even synergizes with this here, but mostly the drawing 2 cards here could be good. It even doubles the Momo trigger. So there, you know, just want to play Katara. Katara's my girl, man. This was like my first like crush, dude. When I was like a little kid, I had like a crush on Katara and like Kim Possible and stuff. So that's my girl, dude. That's my girl. Speaking of my girl, she is in here in the form of this. Now, this water bending X thing is really good, bro. If you have infinite creature, yeah, you already know. You can imagine. You say you have 10 creatures. 5 of those creatures are gonna connect, and you only have like 5 mana. You can use 5 of the creatures that aren't swinging, that aren't going to connect, and 5 mana, and you can give all your dudes base 10/10, right? So you got 5 creatures swinging as 10/10s. That's 50 power swinging. I don't know if that just made sense, but that ability looks so much worse than it is, but it's actually so good when you start to use it in the right board states. It can really be that Azorius piece. And it also is an ally, which is kind of cool. So It has vigilance too, just an upside. So you have your passages. Make sure you get those greens. We have 2 forest island surveils here. Again, 3s, so that's 5 surveils. You have 3 verges. Looks like 1 verge here with your willow verge. And I just have this. You could probably sink a couple more, but you do only have just 1 island and 1 forest, and then 5 plains. And we snuck in an Agna Kele. I watched this show and I have no idea. Just to hopefully find our pieces with that card filtering if we have nothing better to do. And this is a way to win the game on a land, which is just pretty cool to see. This is a great land. So that is it. And I don't know if I talked about Aven Interrupter already, but obviously you can go that route with Aven Interrupter by making all of their stuff cost more. Pretty powerful. You have, a 2-drop option for that, making their stuff cost more. Is pretty crazy. If you turn to this and then they don't cast that creature that turn, and then you Aven Interrupter, and then all of a sudden they have to pay 4 mana for that, 1-drop or 2-drop that they laid. It's pretty crazy. And then potentially, there's even the 4-drop Airbend everything on the field card, which you could put in here, which, actually, hang on. What is that? CMC equals, for, Avatar. Yeah, this one. Choose up to 1 target creature, then airbend all of the creatures. That's pretty good. And this would obviously, you'd be playing this if you're playing your Aven Interrupters, right? So you can see the idea there. So it's that other 4-drop Aang to play, but I don't think it's necessary. We just want to get the combo. We have 3 copies of each except for 2 docks. So Season of the Burrow is going to offset that. If any of their copies go to the graveyard, we have just enough card draw, just enough tempo. That's the idea. I blabbed. There's a really good game. If you want to check it out, I hope you do. I love you. See you in the next one, guys. Take care. Okay, guys, let's see if we can assemble the Titans here. We'll lead with our Surveil land. And we have Aang, and we have Doc. Actually, we do want this. So we have the green and the blue for both. So that we can double spell potentially or whatever. But yeah, the Doc. Doc is the king. Coming back to the game and trying to figure all this out has been pretty fun. Actually, it makes the most sense to lead with our South Pole Voyager. It's going to be able to hopefully draw us a few cards along the course of the game if it chills. Oh, I remember seeing this guy. I never really played with him. Because I was still playing back in Tarkir. Dragonstorm or whatever. That was a fun set. I like those dragon decks I played with. Dude, one of the dragon decks I made was insane. And I just never played with it again. Okay. We chill. I was gonna swing. There's a chance they don't block. But then we have to use our Aang for defense and hang on, this takes a green to cast. Okay, so we just gained the 1 life, but we're gonna start drawing cards potentially. Let's opt first, actually, I think. That's not too bad. I guess we'll keep it. I'll pay the 2 life. So what we do is we get to plot one of these. So kind of cheats some mana, then really it's just a buff every time a legendary creature enters. And because we're earthbending stuff over and over again, this could be just a win con in and of itself. But it's really not that important. You could easily cut this card. This would be the first card to cut. But it's still justified. Okay, cool. They do have the ward 1, very annoying. There's an argument to return this, you know what I mean? But I think we still do this. Yeah. And then I think we cast this so that it can be mana efficient. Put a counter on all of our guys. Get it for a nice little 6 damage. So that's pretty decent. It's obviously not fabulous. But, We just need Appa, and then we win the game, right? So maybe I should have opted to find the Appa instead of having this, to be honest, right? But can't really swing now. We could buff our dudes. We could kill that. No, I don't think we want to lay this to kill our guy. We could transform this though. It taps him down as well though. And we can do it instant speed. So no. No attacks. Sorry, still getting used to the cards. You can do that instant speed, right? The transform, yeah, why not, right? It doesn't say otherwise. Yeah, okay, so we can block in the air and then turn into the reach trip. Oh, it has reach though, so I'm trolling. All of that was for naught. All of that was so pointless. All right, okay, cool, but I don't want to lose my Aang, you know what I mean? So now what's cool about, ooh, okay, so we got this, which enables, it's hard to explain right now. Actually, let me just hopefully just get the Appa at some point and explain once that happens. What we're gonna do here, I have to pay ward 1 plus that, so that's already 2 mana. I have 5 mana, so I can spend 3 mana to do the other effects. This is gonna be cool, I think, actually, because watch this. Okay. Very good. Swing. Getaway Glamour is really powerful, actually. Because, like, okay, so I'm going to block this. They're going to... Wow. They're going to use a whole card. Pay 3 life. We're going to exile it. Exile that. And then we have to click this. Wait, am I paying? I'm paying 1. Yeah, I can pay this, right? Yeah. Sorry. Kill their biggest guy. They wasted their thing. I've absorbed their attack. Aang enters the battlefield. I now can blink this if I want to, but I'm going to obviously blink this, I think. Thank you. Gain some life. Kellan joins up, puts a counter on everything. And we get the Appa. So, ooh, baby, dude. All right, so, and we have the Spell Pierce. You can't stop this, bro. So, I could swing, but there's literally no reason to. And just keep this here, because every time homie enters the battlefield, we're going to get the counter. We just drew the card off the guy. Boom. Blink our Appa. Put a counter on all of our guys. Lay our Appa. I'm not even going to mess up the combo. You could probably spice it up here. You know what I mean? You could probably spice it up here. Could I be returning this as well? Am I really dumb? Am I missing something here? But it's really cool that Kellan, I like that Kellan joins up, like, does this, because it allows any of our creatures that we had on the field on the turn that we start this combo to potentially do infinite damage, right? Because we can do this infinitely. So, you know what I mean? Like, any creature that connects for damage is going to do infinite damage if Kellan joins up is just sitting there. I'm probably missing something to where, like, And if you had Katara on the field, Katara would be doubling these triggers, so we could grow our board way, 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 way faster. We wouldn't have to be doing this. I suppose if there was something we wanted plotted, we could return this. But it's just better. We just keep putting the counters. So hopefully this guy just leaves the game because... Does he have a board wipe? Is he actually thinking he can do this? You know what I mean? Okay, we'll do it one more time. Okay. Nah, let's just keep doing it. Mostly because we get a pretty cool shot. Okay, actually, this is the last time. Alright, fine. Last time. Aang. One more. Maybe he quit. Maybe he quit. Alright, we'll keep on with it. So we should be able to swing. We will just return that real quick. And yeah, so we can just keep doing this infinitely, obviously. Keep hitting things, keep putting counters. Aang, we can transform this guy. But we do have 2 swings. So if they had 1 chunk blocker, one of these guys can connect. And you can do that until you win the game, right? So cool. That is so cool. I'm glad that I finally got that. It did take a few games for me to actually like draw the cards. I was wondering if maybe I need some more card draw and stuff. But I think the deck, like, you know, I have to just play more. So let me know what you guys have experimented with and the number of copies that I have and stuff. There's probably some cards that can sort of cheat some of this stuff out. Whether that be cost reduction like Momo or maybe some white cards that return creatures from the bin. Like Season of the Bro, I think is really good because you can bring back your Aang, you can bring back your Doc. Appa is a 4-drop, so you know there's some implications there. There's a lot of cool little nuance there. You know, is Kellan Joins Up worth it because this plots it for free and this is lessening your plot thing, so there's not really synergy there, but it's still obviously good. It's put counters on all of our stuff. Kellan Joins Up was why we could end the game that turn because potentially they could have a board wipe in their hand, and no matter how many creatures we get, they can wipe it all and we'd have to reset and we wouldn't really have anything. Of course, in that case, if we couldn't have done lethal, I would have held up the Spell Pierce though, right? Which we happen to have. So, okay, just, you know, sauce it on them because we used that 1 blue for the Flood Maw, which we didn't really need to do. But very good. Showcase, that's what we're doing here. These bad boys, boom. And this is my spicy. I haven't seen anyone else do this, but obviously people have. I'm just saying this came out of my intuition. So love you guys. It's really good to be back. If you're a returning subscriber, love you. If you're new, consider liking the video. More people will find it, and then I will feel validated as a human being. It'll be great. And then you can get more sick magic content. I'll keep doing my best to make the videos a little bit better. I'm rambling a lot at the end here. Like I'll be cutting this stuff out as I get a little more streamlined. Sorry about my allergies. I look miserable. Love you guys.